Okay, so I was requested to make a video about about testing Minecraft. Here's what I'm gonna do. Just for the fun of it, amplified. Well, obviously, it's not gonna be my final test. I'm just gonna name a random name. Oh gosh, what is all this? Okay, this looks like some kind of texture glitch. Now, FOV 80. I like FOV 80, so I'm just gonna keep on that. Now, let's try video settings. Not 32, because there's really no difference between like anything higher than like 20, I would say. I'll just do 16. Put that on max. I don't know what this is. I don't want to mess with it. Clouds, fancy. Obviously, have this crap on. No, I don't know what mini maps do or mip maps. I don't know what it does. I'll just have it on all the way. I thought there was more options than that. I mean, I'm using the newest Minecraft version just because I want it to be like an accurate representation. Let's go kill these wolves, shall we? This is Sparta! And I just wrecked these fools like it was nothing. Alright, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you all later. Peace. Let's go kill these wolves, shall we? This is Sparta! And I just wrecked these fools like it was nothing. Alright, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you all later. Peace. Hello, everyone. So you're probably wondering how I got the VP9 codec. Well, to tell you the truth, you're going to need one, a good PC, and two, you're going to need good internet if you want to get the VP9 codec. Sorry to say that, but that's how it works. Like, and the reason why is because it takes a long time to render, like the way I do, the way I got it. It takes a long time to render, and then to edit. Well, yeah, you'd have to edit before you render, and then you render, and then that takes a while, and then you upload, and that also takes a long time. So you're gonna need fast upload speed. Anyways, what I did to get the VP9 codec was I first did this to the preview. So what I recommend to do if you're trying to do 60 FPS, do it to 1440p. Like don't do anything lower than 1440 and don't do anything higher than that. Just do like that. Obviously you want to change this. Just like if you record it at 60, just do it to 60. And what you want to do is you don't want to do, well, you don't need to do that, but you want to do this. Then you want to do blend fields, this. Always want to do best. Pixel format, just do 8-bit, just because there's not really a point in doing anything higher than that. It just doesn't do anything. Then you do your audio and you set it to whatever you like. But I would at least do, at the very minimum, do 44,000, but I usually do this one just to give me the best audio quality. And all this doesn't matter. All you need to do is just set this to 2560 by 1440. So then what you do is after that, also make sure this is progressive scan, not upper field or lower field. Make sure this is, just leave that alone a square and have that. That's all you do. So it doesn't matter like what you record at, like what resolution you record the video in. All that matters is what you render at and what you preview at. Okay, so what you also do is you do property and you go click on, yeah, you don't mess with that. All you need to do is, all you need to do is this. Now, all this other stuff is optional. Like if you want to do your editing effects, you want to do that right away. And so yeah, so you do, so if you want motion blur, all you need to do is right click, motion blur amount. And it really depends. Like it really depends on what kind of game you want to experiment. But honestly, I wouldn't go any higher than 10. And I'd probably go at least 2 if you're going to do motion blur. It really depends on the game. You got to experiment. Like whatever, like it doesn't, you don't need to have motion blur in the game or anything. It's just all you need to do is use the motion blur with whatever editing software you use. This, no, you can play around with it if you want, same with the other effects, but it's not necessary. They're all optional. But I like to do motion blur just because it makes the video a little bit smoother. And I highly recommend to disable the resample. That way you get a better picture quality. So anyways, after that, all you need to do is you do render as, and then you don't need to worry about all this. All you need to do is you go down to, no, it's not this one. It's, you go down, what I used was, I mean, I haven't tried the other codecs, but what I tried to do is I went to main concept AVC/AAC. Like I know it's going to give you a higher file size, but it seems to work better for YouTube. So what I did was I went to Internet HD 1080p, and then what you want to do here is you don't want to do deep blocking filter. It doesn't do anything. So if you want to like make sure, like I didn't, you can do either constant or variable, but if you do variable, it depends on what frame rate you want to do it in. Like, okay, so if you want to do, let's just say 1440p 60, then what you want to do is you want at least 28 million, but you don't want to do higher than 50. You could try to do higher than 50, but you really don't need to. That's just what I do. I use 28 and 50 if I want to use the variable, and if you want to make the quality better, use 2pass. But what I did with that last video is I went down to 28 million, so it's a good compromise. And you also want to make sure that this is set to best. This you don't really need to worry about. Neither is you don't need to worry about that either. And you could try also using CUDA or OpenCL depending on your graphics card, but I really don't recommend it. If you're gonna do render using CUDA, yeah, if you're gonna use CUDA, make sure you have like a 980 Ti or like a GTX 1080. I don't really recommend using CUDA if you have anything like lower than that. But anyways, I use this bitrate for 60 FPS. You want to do that. Now, what you want to do here is you want to do custom frame size. And what I did, like, you want to, this, I don't think it really matters, but you can play around with it. Just make sure you do custom frame size 2560 by 1440 if you want to do 60 FPS. And then what you do is you set this to high and uncheck that. And you just, what I did is like, so if you're going to render it and upload it straight from there, what you want to do is 59.94 since YouTube doesn't really like anything higher than that. And obviously have this be to none. This doesn't matter. You can play around with it. Like you can play around with this, but just make sure you don't choose that. You don't want to mess with this. You don't want to mess with that. Just have this set to high because that will give you the best like picture quality. And that's really all you do if you want to do 60 FPS. Now, if you want to do 30 FPS, like for 30 FPS, you can either do 1440 or you can do 4K. Doesn't really matter. Just make sure you have a good enough computer. But I really do not recommend 4K 60 unless you have like a top of the line graphics card because CPU, it doesn't matter. It's just not, it doesn't really like 4K. Just stick with 1440p unless you have like the best of the best graphics card. So if you're going to do let's just say 30 FPS, then you just want to click that. That's all you need to do if you want to do 30 FPS when you render. But if you want to do 60, you want to do 59.94. And so for 1440p 60, I recommend this if you're going to use constant. That's the one I used in the last video, in that Rocket League Thanksgiving video. I used this. Now, if you want to do 30 FPS, you can do 20. And if you're going to do 4K, I recommend this. But that's going to be a really, really long upload if you're going to use constant. Well, for 4K 30, try this. For 4K 60, definitely do that. Now, if you want to do like 4K 30 with the variable, all you need to do is if you want to do that, if you want to do 4K 30, just do that, or 1440p 60, doesn't matter. This is what you want to use. Now, if you want to do 4K 60, you want to use like something like that. That's what 4K 60 you need. Or you can just use this for 4K 60. It doesn't really matter. And I like to use CPU only just because, in my experience, CUDA doesn't really work. It just makes the downgrades and pixelates and messes up the video. So I just use CPU to give it the best quality. Now, it's different for everybody. So you can try it if you want, but I recommend just leaving it alone. So if you want to do that, so if you want to do 1440p 60, this is all you got to do. Anyways, folks, and then after that, you can name it whatever you want and template. Then you just do render. That's all you need to do. Anyways, I hope you all enjoy this video. Raptor signing out.